Okay. Okay. Assalamualaikum and good evening. I bid to all of the team members. So today the assignment is to conduct a discussion on the following title, which is Roles of OSH Legal Requirement in Business Management. Okay, my name is Muhammad Shazwan Zuhimi bin Muhammad Qasim, and I'm from BMH student. So I would like to introduce all of our team members, starting with Muhammad Izzat bin Saleh, Muhammad Umar Adin, Muhammad Hazim bin Mansur, and finally Muhammad Haris bin Johari. Okay, without wasting any time, I would like to ask the first question for this session. What is the meaning of OSH management to Ijat? Can you please describe? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Shazwan, for that question. What is meant by the management in OSHA is management and organization are interrelated. What is meant by interrelated is both things are related or connect to one and another. The management should establish the right organizational structures to achieve defined objectives. Basic requirements on occupational safety and health (OSH) organization are provided by legislation at EU level, which is Europe level, generally with more details in national law, with, which is Malaysia. The way each company use organizational structures to achieve objectives and improve its OSH performance even beyond legal requirements is a matter of management. Guides on implementing and maintaining management system are available and are compatible with OSH legal provisions. Together with specific tools, this can increase OSH efficiency and efficacy and improve legal compliance. So now I will explain further about the OSH management, where the management and
Okay, please proceed. Please proceed.
Okay, where management and Euro legislation on OSH, management has a very broad meaning, from being able to handle a problem to the sign of management. It has its own body of knowledge, formalized in principles, theories, and standards, and supported by tools. In short, managing a company means being able to take it where it needs or want to be. Management must always comply with laws, but it should take further, more specific steps where it is need to meet the company needs and expectations. I will explain more the comparison between law and management. Where law is reasonably general, cannot have a law for every situation, but for management is mostly situational, where it is adjust to differences. Next, law is imposed to everyone, where management is shared according to common goals. And what I can differentiate between laws and management is where laws is changed only when needed. Management it challenges the status quo to trigger improvement. That's all what I can explain about the management in OSH. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Izzat, for your clear explanation about what is OSHA management in business management. Okay, for the next question, I would like to ask the general function for or applicable to OSH. So I would like to ask Mr. Umarul to give a few 2 cents of your opinion. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shazwan Zulhilmi. So, for my opinion, the general function of management, first is the planning, the set goal and establish the path that lead to them. Second is organizing, decide what function are need, how are they distribute in structure and unit, the relation between unit, how many person and what competence are needed for each function. Next is leading. For leading, take a decision and determine people to act on them. And last one, controlling. The controlling to compare progress against plan and result against goal in order to reduce non-conformance and to make improvement sustainable. So I think that is only opinion I can share to you, Mr. Shazwan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Umarul, for your explanation or opinion. So next, you can say like, okay, the principle of management were formulated about a century ago. So it can be considered obsolete while others are still applied today. Can I get a few examples of relation to OSH organization and the principle? So I would like to ask Encik Haris to expand the point. Thank you.
Alright, so thank you, Mr. Shazwan. So I will proceed the principle of management. So, first, priority of authority and responsibility. The person responsible for a task should have the authority to do it and reciprocate. All activity are the responsibility of the employer according to EU law. Once she or he delegate this responsibility, the delegated person must have the authority for it. Assigned worker, all service expert, other manager need to have the authority to commence, motivate, and take decision according to OSH policy. Delegated person should be clearly informed on the result expected and have the means to do the task. Second, unity of command. A worker should receive order only from one supervisor. In the legislation of some members state the daily responsibility of OSH goes to the leader of the workplace or departments. In this way, workers are not confused by order from different sources. Also, OSH is better integrated in the specific workplace condition and not least importance. Leader cannot choose between production and OSH as there are quality responsibility for both. Lastly, scalar chain. There should be clear lines of authority like a chain where every link important, but also the succession of link. Employee should clearly know who is the responsible for what and where they position in the chain. In several national legislation, the person of service responsible for OSH is subordinated directly the top management. Clear agreement should define the relation with the rest of the unit, the organizational structure, and their leader as well, and the direct relation with worker. That's all for me. I will proceed to others. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Haris, for your brief explanation about the principle of OSH. Okay, without further delay, I would like to ask about OSH organization. So, as we all know, that OSH are closely related to any safety and health department. So, for Mr. Hazim, I would like to ask you to have a brief explanation about the OSH services and expert. If you may, thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Sazwan. And based on my opinion, Europe Union or EU legislation place the responsibility of health and safety on the shoulder of the employee. The employee may perform OSH activity himself for small companies with non-hazard activities or delegate it to the other. EU legislation also provide the one or more workers should be designed by the employee to do the OSH activity, or OSH service should be used if international competence are missing or are not sufficient. The employee has the obligation to ensure that design workers or service, such as have a dark time, have necessary capabilities and mean, are sufficient in number, and the last one are not placed at any disadvantage because of their word or opinion. National legislation provide more detail on the organization of service, such as competence for service member like technical or medical background, a number of years of experience in OSH, and the level of education. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hazim, for your words. And okay, for the conclusion, I would like to give some of my words. So, using management terms in this way by which OSH legislation and strategies encourage employers and companies to use knowledge, commitment, and collaboration for real and continual environment. Okay. OSH management also should fit the size and nature of the company. EU legislation mentioned the necessity to avoid approaches that would be too hard to cope for SMEs or small medium entrepreneurs. There are still challenges for OSH management in the near future. For many companies, that will include the first one is to establish an effective performance metric system to demonstrate added value. Second is to integrate OSH management better and clearer in all processes and structures. The third one is to include management in employee development planning. And finally, to motivate workers to maintain their involvement and support. Okay, I think that is all from us. And I would like to express my gratitude to all of the team members for spending their time and 2 cents about this topic of discussion. Okay, before I end this discussion, I would like to ask if any of you have any opinion on this topic. There's nothing?
No, sir. I think no, sir.
There's no. Okay. Without further wasting our time, I will end this discussion. So thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening to all team members. So today, I would like to proceed with the assignment to OSHA, which is the discussion for the topic of Occupational Safety and Health Act in Malaysia and its salient features. Okay, before we proceed with the discussion, I would like to introduce the team members, starting with Muhammad Haris bin Johari, Muhammad Izzat bin Saleh, Muhammad Hazim bin Mansur, and finally, Muhammad Umar Adin bin Muhammad Jasmi. Okay, for myself, I am Muhammad Shazwan Zuhuli bin Muhammad Qasim, and we're from PMMH students. Okay, without wasting any time, I would like to ask the first question for this discussion. Okay, what is OSHA? If Mr. Harris can explain briefly.
Okay, so I will explain about the OSHA. The Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 or Act 154 provided the legislative framework for the safety, health and welfare among all Malaysia workforce. The principle is to prevent and protect the worker against hazard and its risk in connection with their activity at work. It requires all companies to establish and document first safety and health policy, second duty of the employees and the safety and health officer, the safety third the safety and health committed of companies, and lastly occupational safety and health inspection and officer. So that's all for me. Go purpose. Ha? Baca mana ni? Tu baca purpose ke? Ha?
Tak apa. Aku baca. Aku baca.
Okay. Tak
Dia
dengar.
ada.
Tak dengar kan?
Oi.
Tak dengar.
Ambil tu.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for your explanation about what is OSHA. So, with the explanation of OSHA, so the next one will be the purpose of establishment. Okay, for Mr. Ijat, I would like to ask you the question of the purpose of establishment of OSHA. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Sazwan, for inviting us to this discussion. And now I will explain more about the purpose of OSHA. As we all know, if something created, it must have purpose why it has to be created. Then goes to OSHA, where the purpose of 514 is to secure the safety, health and welfare of persons at work against hazard and risk arising out of the activities of person at work. From this, we all know there are a lot of risks at workplace where is will act as a guideline or law to avoid any of the problems. And then the next purpose of OSHA is to protect at a place the purpose of OSHA is to protect person at a place of work other than person at work against risk arising out of the activities of person at work. Some of the workers, especially in the factories, are facing a lot of risk from having injuries at their workplace. And the next purpose of OSHA is to promote an occupational environment for persons at work which is adapted to their psychological and physiological and psychological. And the last one is to promote the last one The last purpose of OSHA is to provide the means whereby the associated occupational safety and health legislation may be progressively replaced by a system of regulations and approved as record of practice operating in combination with the provision of this act designed to maintain and improve the standard of safety and health. That's only the purpose of OSHA. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Izzat, for your insightful explanation. Okay, we carry on with the next question. Okay, as being explained by Mr. Izzat, that the OSHA is being established by a set of professionals, as we have been learned inside this subject. So, what is the regulation that is being set, and give some example for it? And I would like to ask Mr. Hazim to answer the question.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Sazwan. Okay, there are some of the regulation and order made under the Act. Okay, the first is Occupational Safety and Health, Employee Safety and Health General Policy Statement, exception 1995, Occupational Safety and Health Control of Industrial Major Accident Hazard, 1996, Occupational Safety and Health Committee, 1996, and Occupational Safety and Health Classification Labeling of Safety Data Sheet of Hazard Chemical, 2013. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hazim, for your explanation. Okay, next. Okay, as we all know, any laws that are being created by human are not perfect. So for this question, I would like Mr. Umarul to explain briefly about the advantages of OSHA and the disadvantages of OSHA. Okay, feel free to talk.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sazwan Suhilmi. So I got a lot of points to talk about this. So first, the advantage. Policy of ethical complaint help to create a workplace culture where all employees are treated with respect. Employees are given equal access to advancement opportunities, and the workplace become positive and nurturing environment. Your ethic policies can leave employer feeling good about the place in which they work and manner in which they are carry out their activities. A strong ethical standard in the workplace help you to create strong working relationship between the staff and management. It reduce employee turnover, improve morale, and has positive effect on productivity. For next, what will happen if there's no code of ethics in an organization? A lack of ethics has a negative effect on employee performance. In some cases, employees are so concerned with getting ahead and making, for example, money that they ignore produce and a protocol. This can lead in the additional paperwork to careless error that result in the task having to be complete. Next, why is the ethic important in OSH? So, society should act the society should act so as to enhance the unsafe working condition and occupational risk. Society has a moral obligation to take measures to reduce workers exposed to occupying occupational risk and hazard, and for providing the workers with more information about the issue. So for the disadvantages, the lack of the management support. One of the disadvantage of the ethical complaints program is the requirement of the comprehensive support of management to be effective. If member of the management team decide to apply their own vision of the corporate ethic to the way they manage their department, then this clash of principle can cause confusion in the workplace. For example, the manager who tend to look the other way when his employees are committing sexual harassment set a precedent that can start to undermine their entire corporate culture, as the movement has made abundant clearly. Even with the detailed policy in place, senior company manager all too often act as is the rule do not apply to them. And the last one is a disadvantage for cost. Developing, implement, and maintaining an ethic complaint program with your organization can be expensive and time consuming. Ethic policies need to be continually updated to reflect change in workplace law and change in your company culture as the organization grow. So I think that's all for me. I hope my explanation all my explanation be answered for me. Thank you, Mr. Shazwan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Umarul, for your long explanation about the advantages and the disadvantages of OSHA. Okay, in this discussion, we have covered the what is OSHA, the purpose of establishment, and some example or regulation of OSHA that is being used, and the advantages of OSHA and the disadvantages. Okay, before I ended the discussion, I would like to ask all the team members a single question. May I? May I ask this question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Okay,
Question.
the question is, if somehow OSHA is never discovered into the world, what will happen or what is the effect that it can be contributed to the human? I would like to ask your sincere opinion about this matter. Okay, that is my question. Feel free to answer.
I want to answer your question. There will be no effective security system in place. There will be no safeguard for the worker lah. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Haris. Anybody else?
Yes, me.
Okay, share your opinion, please.
So, yes, thank you. My opinion is there will increases in workplace accident, which means by accident in workplace will be much higher. All of the untrained workers, faulty equipment, and hazardous working condition can result in multiple workplace accidents. Without OSHA oversight, it will be at companies' discretion to provide and updated equipment to its employees. Unfortunately, as history has proven, companies do not always do the right thing. In the years prior to OSHA, workers were routinely injured because of outdated equipment. In countries such as China, which does not have government oversight. Workers lost or break about 40,000 fingers every year, according to a report by the New York Times. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Izzat, for your opinion. Anyone else to share their thoughts about the question? Yes, no. Okay. I would like to put some of my point into the question that were being given. Okay. The function I would say that with the absence of OSHA, it somehow will affect the worldwide thoroughly. This is because the OSHA's function is to protect workers from any harm while they are doing their job. And based on Muhammad Haris and Muhammad Izzat opinions, I would like to fully agree that if OSHA is absent in the world will become chaos as tragic accident will occur and there will be no one else to cover the injuries or anything else while they are doing their work. Okay, that is all my opinion about this question.
I want to add
Yes.
another point to your question.
Okay, proceed.
My other point is when OSHA is absent or not even exist, the revenue decrease. The in the explanation is also companies may view OSHA as intrusive to daily work function. The fact is that a safer work environment is more profitable. As we all agree, employees who are properly trained on equipment usage are more efficient. Less sick days due to better workplace condition equal higher worker productivity. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Izzat, for the additional information. So finally, we are at the end of our discussion, and I would like to express my gratitude to all the team members for sacrificing some of their time to undergo this part of discussion. So, as we all know, OSHA is very important and should be maintained for as long as there is worker doing their job inside any SME or large factories. Okay. With that, I would like to thank all of you and have a good day. Bye-bye and Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Salam. Thank
Bye bye.